What's good, YouTube? This is day 3 of the Ashley Elkins preliminary hearing of part 2. So we're about to get into it.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Roddy Langford on behalf of Mr. Booker, who I believe is present on Zoom or some other hookup where he can hear and see the proceedings.
Yes, I'm told that. You may call your next witness.
We'll call Sergeant Lesbrance.
Gentlemen,
sir.
your right hand is raised. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give this matter will be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may have seats.
Matthew Lesbrance, M-A-T-T-H-E-W. Last name is L-E-S, P as in Paul, E-R-A-N-C-E.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How are you employed?
Through the City of Roseville Police Department.
What is your position in the City of Roseville Police Department?
Currently, I'm a sergeant on road patrol.
How long have you been with Roseville?
Just over 9 years.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
I was a cadet at New Baltimore Police Department about 15 years ago. Other than that, no.
Were you working as a sergeant for Roseville back on the beginning of January or on January 3rd or 4th, 2025?
No, ma'am. I was a detective in that capacity.
And what were your duties as a detective at that time?
I investigate incidents of all kind that come across my desk from our command. It could be simple as theft and all the way up to homicide.
At some point, did an investigation at the 26069 Pinehurst come across your desk?
Yes, ma'am.
How did that come to be?
I was serving as an on-call detective. I was notified by Detective Lieutenant Beamer that a search warrant needed to be done based on some suspicious circumstances that were found at the address in question.
So once that information was relayed to you, do you then become the officer in charge of the case?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are your duties as officer in charge of the case?
I take the case over entirely. I make sure that everything is done chronologically and to the best of the ability of the department. I start at square one, basically.
But when it was relayed to you that a search warrant needed to be executed, was there already an open investigation to your knowledge that Roseville was conducting?
Roseville was not. Warren Police Department was not.
So the investigation in Roseville essentially began when you took it over, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And prior to that, there was an issue that was being investigated by Warren, correct?
Correct.
So why did you have to draft a search warrant? Actually, strike that. Do you recall the day that you had to do that search warrant?
It was a Saturday. It was January 4th, ma'am.
2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you have to do that search warrant?
Officers went out to the address for a welfare check. The defendant, DeAndre Booker, called. Actually, let me go back. Officers went out there with Warren PD to do a welfare check of Ashley Elkins.
Do you know what day that was?
January 2nd, I believe.
It was January 2nd?
2nd or the 3rd?
The 3rd, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So there was an initial call out on January 3rd to what location? Or 2nd or 3rd?
The DeAndre Booker Department at 26069 Pinehurst.
And that's in Roseville?
Correct, ma'am.
So was there any other calls out to 26069 Pinehurst around that time?
Prior to me getting there?
Correct.
I believe they went out that next day too before I got there as well.
That would be January 4th?
Correct, ma'am.
And do you know if it was Roseville or Warren or both that went out?
That day was both.
So what brought you to get the search warrant on the 4th?
Strike that. 4th, it was Roseville PD that went out there. It was without Warren. Officer Nabozny, Officer Slut, and Officer Brierski went out there for a welfare check. And they went up to the defendant's door, knocked on it. The door became ajar. They announced their presence. They didn't hear any voices or anything coming inside, so they did a protective sweep of the residence. And that's when Officer Nabozny found remnants of blood, what appeared to be blood.
So were you present during that search on January 4th?
No, ma'am.
But as officer in charge, all of the information that is part of a case is related through you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So when they went on the 4th, that is when Officer DeBosny found what he believed to be suspected blood. The officers exited, they contacted you for a search warrant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So were you ever given any indication about whether anything was found on January 3rd when the officers went in?
No, ma'am. To my knowledge, there was nothing observed or found on January.
So in the January 3rd search, it was both Roseville and Warren. What was relayed to you as officer in charge was that officers went in, took a look around, and found nothing and left, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
So going back to January 4th, did you in fact type a search warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was signed by a judge?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened?
We executed the search warrant, Detective Lieutenant Beamer and I, along with Officer Byerski, Officer Nabozny, and Officer Kimber.
So you were there when the search warrant was executed?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened when you went in the apartment after the search warrant?
Officer Nabozny pointed out where he observed the suspected blood, and we began our initial search of the apartment for any signs of foul play or suspicious circumstances.
So we obviously went through the whole list of everything that Officer Nabozny found, collected during the search. I want to draw your attention to what's marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 86. During Officer Nabozny's testimony, I do believe he had mentioned that there were the 2 types of trash bags. Remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is People's Proposed Exhibit 86. What is in this photo?
That is the Hefty Strong garbage bags, I believe the 30-gallon bags,
And where were these located?
in the kitchen.
Are these, this is just a closer view of what Officer DeBosny already testified to?
Yes, ma'am.
And this accurately reflects what it looked like when you were in the apartment on January 4th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
People will move to the image of.
So who we have on the stand is the officer in charge of this case. This is the Ashley Elkins case. Her ex-boyfriend, DeAndre Booker, is the defendant that's being charged for the murder. He's the officer in charge. Detective Lesperance is his name. And he's pretty much going over his testimony of what he found. That was also seen in the last video that I did, that he was dumping out some items in the garbage with those type of bags that he got that they're showing right there. And good morning to everybody that's in chat or that's watching. Appreciate you pulling up.
Proposed Exhibit 86.
Any objection?
I thought it was already.
This is
all
closer.
No objection.
So looking at Exhibit 86, you see 2 kinds of trash bags, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's look at the Hefty, the box of Hefty.
Yes,
I know it's kind of hard to see. Can you tell us, describe it, please? How many are there? What's the count? What's the size?
So it's the superior strength black garbage bags, super strong. They're rip tear resistant, and I believe the count was 28, if I'm not mistaken.
And what is the size?
30 gallon, 33 gallon.
Is it
I
30
can't
or
really
30?
see. It looks like 30 to me, ma'am.
30. Oh. All right. And these were found in the kitchen area, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
We also heard testimony about a weapon being found, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of gun was that again?
It was a black 9mm Taurus handgun.
And where was it found, if you can recall?
It was found under one of the love seats in the living room.
So there's been quite a bit of testimony about blood swaps of possible blood taken, both
Yes.
by, I believe, it was Officer DeBosny as well as Ms. Dresser. So what happens when someone collects a swab like that? What's the process that you do?
So it's handled by an evidence technician who collects a sample, processes it, and places it in evidence. It's placed in a secure location where only one person in the department can get it. And then once I deem it reasonable enough, and at that time, I would submit it over to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab for further analysis.
Is that something that you did ultimately do in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
So before we get to that, when you're in the apartment on January 4th, you do the search warrant, you collect all the evidence that we found. What do you do after that? Where's your investigation team?
So once the search warrant is complete, we document everything that we take from the apartment, and then we bring it back to Roseville Police Department where it is properly secured and packaged and then placed on evidence. And then I begin my initial investigation. I begin to speak with warrant detectives and making a determination as to what exactly is going on. Because at this point in time, we weren't sure if there was an exact crime that happened or if it was just speculation that the blood was from some minor accident or just we didn't know who it belonged to at this time.
So if you're trying to figure out what exactly is going on, what would you look for?
I would look
Or what did you look for in this instance? Let's keep it about this instance. So,
at the apartment.
yes.
So I look for signs of foul play, in signs of any sort of struggle within the apartment. And then I would base my determination off of that.
Okay, so after the search warrant is done on the 4th, what is your next step?
I would contact parties involved or attempt to make contact with parties involved.
So did you ever look for any sort of video, surveillance video, anything like that?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
I'd have to look on my report to see what date it was. Myself and Detective Taylor went to the Hampton Court Apartments after making contact with Miss Sims, who is the apartment manager, in reference to surveillance footage. And we began to comb through surveillance footage starting on January 1st of 2025, all the way up until we knew the time that Ashley arrived at Mr. Booker's residence.
And how did you know what time Ashley arrived at the defense residence?
We spoke with detectives from Warren PD who had previously spoken with Miss Elkins' family, and we based our timeline off of that.
So what did you find when you were looking through that footage? Anything important?
Yes, ma'am. We found that Ashley arrived, as previously said in further earlier testimony, on January 2nd, around 07:58, I believe it was, in her silver Malibu.
And that you found the video of that?
Yes, ma'am.
When you were looking through all the video footage, did you ever find anything that saw Ashley leaving that apartment?
No, ma'am. Ashley's never left that apartment.
So what do you do after you find the footage of what you believe to be Ashley coming in just before 8 o'clock?
We make a determination of seeing if she ever left. Did she come out of another entrance or another exit? And then once we made that determination, we began to look at further video over a certain time period, which would reflect, okay, any reasonable person would leave after such a long period of time. Knowing at this point in time, I knew she had 2 young children, so I knew she wanted to be away from them for a long period of time.
So what would be the length of time that you would say that you and your team looked at footage of the Hampton Court Apartments?
We looked at video footage all the way up until I believe it was the 4th, just past the 4th, maybe the early hours of January 5th.
Anything else of note in the footage other than Ashley arriving shortly before 8 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am. You can see DeAndre Booker and another female leaving and going to and from Ashley Elkins' silver Malibu.
What was your first impression when you saw that?
Based on the general description I had of Mr. Booker, I believe that the male figure in the video footage was him. In my initial investigation, I thought that the female he was seen leaving with might have been Ashley, based on it's a little bit grainy, and I think she may have changed clothes or had a different attire on at that time.
Were you ever able to strike that? Did you attempt to find out who those 2 people were that you saw getting into Ashley's spot?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do to do?
I contacted DeAndre Booker.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I called him just after we completed the search warrant on that Saturday. That was the 5th. And on the telephone that he called 911 from.
So let's back up. When you called him, was that on your end, a department line, a cell phone, or
Yes, ma'am. It was on my department desk phone.
is that recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
And you
Now, the part he just testified to, as far as seeing DeAndre Booker and allegedly Ashley Elkins with them in the parking lot, that was false. That was a lookalike. That was his niece, who he called out of nowhere after missing for 10 years in action to do a favor, and that was help move her car. So they were moving the car together, Ashley Elkins' car, because her car was at his apartment complex. So that's why, not his apartment complex, it's her apartment. Her car was parked at the parking lot at the beauty supply. So they had to move it, and that's who that was when they're speaking on. But that was not Ashley in the video.
You mentioned something about obtaining a call or a phone number for the defendant. Tell me about that.
He called 911, which was received by Macomb County Dispatch, stating that his apartment was being broken into by members of the Elkins family that he observed on Facebook, and he wanted a welfare check done to see if his apartment was in fact broken into.
So that's how you got the defendant's number initially?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened when you called him?
I identified myself as Detective Les Bronx with the Roseville Police Department. I asked to speak with Mr. Booker, who he identified as him.
Okay. And what did you initially tell him you were calling about?
I initially told him that we received a call that he called 911 stating that someone had broken into his apartment.
So that would be a criminal investigation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Someone breaking into somebody's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I interrupt for a second? When was that call made?
That would be on Saturday, January 5th. It might have rolled over into the early hours of Sunday morning.
Was this the 911 call? That's what I'm referring
The 911 call, he called in, I'd have to get an exact time. He called 911 that went into Macomb County Dispatch January 5th. I just don't know exact time.
So when you talked to the defendant, you believe to be the early morning hours of January 5th, you identified yourself, you told him that you had information about this possible break-in in his apartment. What did he say after that?
He said that her family was posting stuff on social media, breaking into his apartment, looking for Ashley because they thought that Ashley was with him or at his apartment.
So at any point, did you talk to him about Ashley during this phone call?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you talk about?
I asked him if he knew where Ashley was or the last time that he saw her.
Did he confirm that Ashley came to his apartment that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he tell you anything about her leaving?
He said Ashley came around 8:30-ish were his exact words. And then I asked when she left, and he said around 11:30-ish were his exact words.
Did you ask about any sort of clothing that she was wearing or anything like that?
Yes, ma'am. I asked him if she arrived in the same clothing if she left in the same clothing that she arrived in. He stated yes.
He stated yes, she did.
Yes.
Did you ask anything about Ashley's car?
Yes, ma'am. I just confirmed that did she leave in the same car that she arrived in, which was the silver Malibu with the black rims, and he says yes.
But that was a
Does it
lot.
say anything to you, anything else that you can recall in that first phone call about Ashley being in his apartment, leaving, anything like that?
I'd have to refer to my report if that's okay.
If that would refresh your record.
Yes. Okay.
Anything else you can recall from that phone call?
I asked him what was the purpose of him and Ashley meeting up, and he said that they were just they would meet up from time to time and talk. I then asked him, as I reiterated before, does Ashley still drive that silver car? And he states yes, too. From what he knows, yes. And that he made comments that he believed Ashley's family is accusing him of stealing her car and her phone.
At any point during that first phone call, did you ever tell him that you are investigating her disappearance yourself, or are you still saying it's more?
I believe at that time I'm still saying I informed him that Warren Police Department was actively looking for her as a missing person.
So after you talked to the defendant, at some point, obviously we've seen some other footage, the ring camera footage. How does that come to be discovered?
Once Detective Lieutenant Beamer and I left the residence after completing the search warrant, we were canvassing the area, the surrounding area for any sort of CCTV footage, which we found the cameras affixed to the apartment building in question that DeAndre Booker lived at. And then we came across the Ring doorbell on the porch pillar that was previously introduced for earlier testimony.
So at some point, as part of your investigation, Ring camera footage for the surrounding area was checked, correct?
Yes,
And then you find the video of the shopping cart.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other Ring camera footage of note that you can recall other than what's already been introduced and played?
To my knowledge, no, ma'am.
Do you ever talk to the defendant again as part of your investigation?
I do.
Tell me about that.
If you're okay, if I can, I know there's a lot of phone calls between him and I. I'm sorry, there's just a lot of information that exchanged between I. If I can reflect,
Let's say this, how many phone calls total were there between you and the defendant?
three. I'm sorry, three.
Okay. So, yes, do you recall when the second phone call was?
On the 6th.
And do you recall the contents of that conversation, or do you need to look at your?
I would have to refer to my report, ma'am.
Please do so.
Okay.
He's reading his testimony.
Okay. ma'am.
You can hear that. Okay.
The second phone call with him, that was recorded as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Same phone I contacted him on the first time.
Do you inform him at that time that you are investigating Ashley's disappearance?
Yes, ma'am.
So by the time you talked to him the second time, has Roseville taken over the investigation from Warren Police Department?
At this point in time, it was determined that it was our investigation. Yes.
So when you get an investigation from another police department, what happens? Do they give you everything they have? Do you start fresh?
So we request that any information they had pertaining to Miss Elkins for this particular incident that they turn over to us, which was completed by a search warrant. And then we gathered all their information and started to incorporate it into our investigation.
So by the time you talk to the defendant on January 6th, you tell him that you are working on the investigation of Ashley. What do you talk about?
I asked him, is this normal behavior for Ashley to go missing, which he states no. Him and I spoke about where his current whereabouts were, and that the time frame in which he left his apartment, and we just further go over a continued time frame that we previously discussed as well.
So do you ever bring up the video that we saw of him getting into the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
What's he say about that?
I confront him and say, I believe that the male getting in the silver Malibu is you, in which he states it was him, or I'm sorry, it was not him, and that it never at any point in time did he enter Ashley's vehicle.
And then you said you discussed his whereabouts?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did he say he was?
He was in Flint at Friends Mobile Home Park.
And did you get any information about how he got there, what time, things of that nature?
So he arrived there by Uber. That he stated he was picked up on the 3rd around $100 to $200.
That would be about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on January 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
That's when he told you he got in the Uber or arrived in Flint?
I believe that's when he said he got in the Uber.
Were you ever able to get any information about when he actually got into the Uber to go to Flint?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you come to get that?
Warren PD had a search warrant done on and phone pings done on both DeAndre and Ashley's cell phones.
And what did those pings show?
The time frame in which Mr. Booker gave me was not accurate as terms of it reflecting from the search warrant data.
So, and we know that the defendant's phone was dumped and was analyzed by Detective Moran, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was anything found in that phone that would show when the defendant actually was picked up in the Uber?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as.
Yeah, but he's sweating like a pig, bro.
Alright, so I'm sorry, this was already admitted, I believe it was People's Exhibit 84 through Detective Moran. This was a screenshot that was found in the defendant's cell phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
So what information is in this screenshot?
This is the vehicle that picked up DeAndre Booker from Glendale and Gratiot to take him to Flint.
And it shows a time, correct? Can you see that?
And what we heard from earlier testimony is that that's where he was found at his girlfriend's house, hiding out when police arrested him for the murder of Ashley Elkins. He was found in Flint, Michigan, but was really the crime happened in Roseville, which is like a suburban town outside of Detroit. He didn't drive, of course, because he always took Uber. He didn't have a license, or I believe his license was suspended or something like that. So he always took Uber to get around, and that's why he also asked a favor from his niece or a step niece or something like, or adopted niece or something like that, out of 10 years and not speaking with her, to ask her to move Ashley Elkins' car because he could not drive or did not know how or something like that.
$511, ma'am. So the one on the top left, is that what you're looking at?
Yes, and then it says what time he's going to be picked up, correct? So pick up in 6 minutes?
If you're in the bushes, don't forget
I got the glare on my, yes, ma'am.
So
Appreciate
that
you.
would mean he was picked up by the Uber at approximately 5:17 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
in the area of Glendale Street.
Yes, ma'am.
What day is it?
Do you recall what day that was?
That would be January 3rd.
Okay. So once you get this information, do you ever get any official records from Uber or anything like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
The records from Uber reflected 3 accounts, all confirmed to be DeAndre Booker's.
So how do you get those? Do you do a subpoena?
Search warrant, ma'am.
Search warrant? Okay. So you do a search warrant for the defendant's records for Uber,
Yes, ma'am.
and you get, they send you back a return with results, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm showing you what's been marked as people proposed exhibit 85. Do you recognize what's in this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
What is in this photo?
That is the Uber data from the search warrant that we sent over to Uber itself.
And this accurately reflects what Uber sent you in response to your search warrant regarding the defendant DeAndre Booker's Uber account and his rides over the last few days. That's correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 85.
No objection, Your Honor.
It was 84?
That was admitted through Detective Moran. So, looking at exhibit 85, the Uber record, we're going to draw your attention to the screen at the top. What do we have here? Are you able to see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what do we have here at the top as far as the records?
You have the service in which it was used, which is UberX, the country, United States, the customer's name, which is Devin Bakes, which we already verified was an account used by DeAndre Booker based on his cell phone records. The ride share, which was completed as the status, and then the pickup and drop off times.
All right. There's also, it looks
Yep.
like, what else?
The pickup and drop off locations is referred to in longitude and latitude.
Perfect. So, looking at the pickup time for the box 1 at the bottom,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
do we see here?
January 3rd at 5:17 a.m.
And what's the name attached?
Devin Banks, which is, as we discussed earlier, is an affiliate of, or an alias of DeAndre Booker, as previously found in his cell phone records.
Found in his cell phone, great. Where can you see the pickup location? Are you able to see what it says?
Are you talking in terms of the latitude, longitude, ma'am?
Correct.
42 point.
So he used a fake name for Uber pretty much, but we also know that he also has a history of using of like fraud and identity theft and things like that. So that would not surprise me as well either.
0.49186, ma'am.
And the longitude, the next one,
Longitude is 82.9381.
negative, correct? Negative, that's a negative?
Negative, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, sorry, now we're gonna go to People's Exhibit 127, right? Yeah. Nope, not 127. Yes. This is People's Proposed Exhibit 126. Are you able to identify what is in this photo? Let's start with the right side.
Yes, ma'am. I see the Hampton Court Apartments in which DeAndre Booker resided at.
Okay, so this would be an overview of the Hampton Court Apartments in the surrounding area, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
From Google.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you stipulating the admission of this? I don't know if it's sure. So I believe there's a stipulation to the admission of people proposed exhibit 126 for exam purposes only.
Is that right?
No objection, Your Honor.
We will be there.
So we see in the top, just right of center, there's like the little dot.
Yes, ma'am.
Indicating a location.
That's the pickup location in which DeAndre Booker was picked up by the Uber to go to Flint.
Okay, and what would be the latitude and longitude of that?
Latitude and longitude is on the left side here, underneath, which accurately depicts the information that we received from Uber search warrant.
So this location lines up with what we found in the search warrant. Now, where on this map would that be in relation to the defendant's apartment?
The defendant's apartment is just south of the red bubble, if you will.
If it helps, if you want to come down and maybe show us around.
So this is,
Where are Hampton Court Apartments?
Hampton Court Apartments are right here where the silver bubble is. This is Pinehurst Street, as pointed out by Amy Barstow, where she was dropped off the first time when she originally arrived. Pinehurst Street right here. DeAndre Booker's apartment is right here. And then Glendale Street right here where this red bubble is where he was picked up to travel to Flint, where we found him.
So we previously seen videos, we had testimony about dumpsters that the defendant visited in the evening hours of January 2nd, early morning hours of January 3rd. Do you see those on that map?
The dumpsters themselves know, but the area, yes.
The area? Okay, show us where they are.
So there's Hampton Court right here, and then the area in which the dumpster would be is over here.
And then there was also testimony about Motor City Pond. In the
Yes,
video. Where is the Motor City Pond?
Motor City Pond is right here, this building that runs along Gratiot Avenue, northbound. And Marquette, right here, this is Motor City Pond, in which we observed DeAndre Booker running alongside of in earlier surveillance footage.
And that would be the early morning hours, the approximately 5:17 a.m. is when we watched him go past Motor City Pond,
Yes,
or
ma'am,
around that time.
that's correct.
And that would be, his route would essentially be heading towards the pickup location, correct?
So he comes along Marquette Avenue, goes northbound on Gratiot, and then goes eastward on Glendale Street where he's picked up by Uber.
He's picked up by Uber. And where does he go once he's picked up by Uber?
He goes to the Flint address where we originally found him.
Do you do any other subpoenas or search warrants for any other identifying information for defendant or any counts or anything like that?
There was multiple search warrants done. We did the search warrant for DoorDash.
Okay, tell me about that.
So we had knowledge that on his phone there was a DoorDash order that was taken on the day in which Ashley was last seen or observed at his apartment that same day.
Now you said you had knowledge. Where did you get that information?
Warren Police Department advised that the family found a cell phone while at DeAndre Booker's apartment that contained that information.
And do you remember when the family would have found that? Was that before or after you took over the investigation?
That was before.
So you had information that the defendant may have done, executed a DoorDash order.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with that information?
We then, yes, ma'am. We then subpoenaed a search warrant for the DoorDash history for DeAndre Booker's apartment and for himself.
And did you get records back from that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as people proposed exhibit 87. You recognize this?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What is this?
This is the DoorDash order in which the subscriber information of DeAndre Booker. This was on January 2nd at 23:46 hours. and this was the what was delivered in its entirety to his address.
Now, was
I'm sorry,
this,
what was the time, please? January 2nd?
Yep, January 2nd at 23:46 Eastern Standard Time. So yes, sir.
now this, what we're looking at now, is this the information that was received from the defendant's phone, or is this information that you got as a result of the search warrant?
This is the information we received as a result from the search warrant.
So we would move for the addition of people's proposed exhibit 87.
Exam purposes only, no objection.
Thank you. All right, so as far as, what do we see here? The subscriber information is who?
Subscriber information is DeAndre Booker, verified by his email, DeAndreBooker24@gmail.com, which was also found in multitude within his search warrant download of his cell phone found on his person. It was delivered and ordered on January 2nd, 23:46.
So for the rest of us who don't know military time, what time would 23:46?
That's 11:46 p.m.
Thank you.
No problem.
What address was it delivered to?
It's delivered to 26069 Pinehurst Street, Roseville, Michigan 48066, apartment V202, which is that of which DeAndre Booker resided in.
And what was delivered?
Contents that were delivered were hefty, strong, 30-gallon large drawstring trash bags, 28 count, which we verified through one of the exhibits you admitted, and then Clorox disinfecting bleach, 43 ounces, and then essential everyday medium, 13-inch long household latex gloves.
Thank you. So I believe we have talked about two of the phone conversations with defendant, and I believe you mentioned that at some.
So the latex gloves in the trash bag. He was saying this was done around 11 o'clock at night, almost midnight. No need to order those type of supplies that kind of late, right?
Point, we talked to him about whether or not he was getting into, that's him getting into Ashley's car, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you mention anything to him about any videos you had watched or anything of that nature?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell us about that.
I indicated to him that I believe that I observed him getting into the passenger seat of Ashley's vehicle. I displayed to him that I observed him going initially to the driver's side and then walking over to the passenger side, checking the back bumper area for something, and then him and this unidentified female who I at the time believed to be Ashley get into this vehicle and leave the property.
What was his response to that?
He said, "That's not me. I never got into Ashley's vehicle."
So you said at the time you believed it to be Ashley.
Yes.
At some point, did you find out that was not Ashley in that video?
Yes, ma'am.
How were you able to get that?
He said he uttered the words niece to me, and then based on the data from his cell phone search warrant, we were able to determine that his niece, Payne Barksdale, was the female that got in the vehicle with him.
And did you talk to him about that information?
I'd have to reflect on my report, ma'am.
If that would refresh your recollection.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, I'm ready.
What do you recall him saying about that?
So in terms of him leaving the apartment, he's stating that he's never gotten into the vehicle. They never left in the vehicle together at any point in time. He is picked up and uses Uber as his primary mode of transportation. I then request a screenshot or some sort of data that would be consistent with his story in which he's given me,
Do you ever get a screenshot from him?
No, ma'am.
So the screenshot we just discussed, was that, he never sent that to you, correct?
No, ma'am.
That was found in his phone?
Correct.
Anything else that you discussed with him that you can recall?
I asked him where he goes and if he remains on the premises. He creates a story in which he stated he went to, which was later learned to be Payne's address in Detroit, which we found to be untrue. At no point in time was he ever found to be in the vicinity of Payne's. He used the information in which Payne got her DoorDash order delivered to her residence as kind of a story that he conjured to make it known that he was possibly not at the residence in the times in which he stated he was.
Okay. Now, the time that he stated he went to the apartment in Detroit with Payne, were you ever able to find any video footage or anything around his apartment showing that he was in fact still there?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to, I asked him what kind of clothing he was wearing, in which he insinuated that he was wearing the blue Carhartt jacket, jeans, and tennis shoes, which correctly depicted what we observed on the CCTV footage throughout the course of the day and from him to be wearing, which accurately depicted what we found in the Flynn address as well. Which would corroborate, or I'm sorry, not corroborate his story. He was found to be on CCTV footage at the property almost the entire day.
Now, you had mentioned something about, I believe it was Warren Police Department, Payne, the defendant, and Ashley's phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me a little more about that.
So we had confirmation between us and Warren PD that Ashley's phone was currently pinging all the way up until the Sally Beauty Supply. And then the phone was either turned off or destroyed in some manner. And the phone.
So I'm just going to jump in. You
Yep.
mentioned the beauty supply. You said Sally.
Sally Beauty Supply, yes, ma'am. Cali Beauty, yes, sorry. Cali Beauty, yes, ma'am.
So, and is this the video and the discussion that we've already had with Payne? That's what you're referring to, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
The trip to Cali Beauty Supply that Payne testified she took with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am. That is the last time that Ashley's phone accurately had a ping to it, and the location was able to be found.
Okay, and so Ashley's phone was pinging to Cali Beauty Supply?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to get the defendant's phone location pinging at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was that at the same time that Ashley's was at Cali Beauty Supply?
At that place too, at Cali Beauty Supply.
Do you recall what time it was that those two phones were pinging together?
So he had Ashley's phone with him at the beauty supply along with his niece, who he wanted to pretend to be Ashley.
At Cali Beauty Supply?
I do not. I don't know if it's depicted in my report or if that's another officer that handled the exact time frames. If it is, I can look if it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, ma'am, it doesn't look like I have the those time frames. It might have been done by another detective.
So the last,
This side.
yes,
Just taking down notes about Detective Sergeant Westbound. You were asking Mr. Booker about statements that he made about what he was wearing. I didn't catch the whole thing. You did say the blue jacket.
Blue jacket, jeans, and some shoes. Is what he told me.
And what kind of blue jacket did you say? He said it was.
He just said blue jacket. Yes. Okay.
so just so I'm clear, the last known location of Ashley Elkins' phone was in the area of Cali Beauty Supply, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was at the same time that the defendant's phone was in the area of Cali Beauty Supply, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you get information about Ashley's phone being at Cali Beauty Supply, what do you do?
We sent detectives to Kelly Beauty Supply in order to get video footage to confirm if Ashley was or was not there.
Were you ever able to confirm whether Ashley was at Cali Beauty Supply?
Ashley was never at Kelly Beauty Supply.
Did you find anything of note at Cali Beauty Supply?
Yep, it was later learned that the tan Chevy Equinox that DeAndre and Payne Barksdale arrived in were seen on CCTV footage at the Kelly Beauty Supply, in which Payne exits the vehicle and heads into the store.
And that's the
So that's the defendant's step-niece, DeAndre Booker. Now, they said Ashley Elkins was never seen there per the CCTV video footage, but her phone was last pinged there. And however, the defendant and his step-niece or adopted niece or whatever were last pinged there as well too. So we know that they were there because we were seeing them. We seen them on camera. I think they're going to show it. And also we know that their phones pinged there.
video we watched earlier today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So at some point, we've talked about how we found out that the defendant left the Glendale location and then went up to Flint, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with that information?
So Warren's special ops unit had an eye on the apartment, in which they were keeping an eye just to see if DeAndre left or if he was in fact there. And they had confirmation that he was still there based on cell phone ping data.
Do you mean there up in Flint?
Up in Flint, yes,
Do you
ma'am.
recall the address or the street?
I can get it for you in just 1 second, ma'am.
This testimony is quite lengthy, guys. About a couple hours, I think. Yeah, he's the officer in charge, so his testimony is a couple hours, like 3 more hours. So,
4479 Rainbow Lane, Flint, Michigan 48507.
At some point, do you go to that location in Flint?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Tell me about that.
So we, based on my investigation, it was determined that a serious crime had taken place inside of DeAndre Booker's apartment, and we did a evidentiary search warrant at the Flint address on Rainbow Lane.
yeah, I only mentioned his testimony is about 3 more hours because he's the last witness because he's the officer in charge. But grab your drinks, your snacks, because his testimony is got like good 3 hours left.
I previously mentioned, and the search warrant entailed any clothing that we viewed on CCTV footage or the car keys to the silver Malibu, DeAndre Booker's cell phone, Ashley Elkins' cell phone, or anything deemed appropriate or evidentiary value in pertains to this incident in this case.
So what happened when you went up to Rainbow Lane?
Myself, along with members of the Roseville Police Department and Warren Special Ops Unit, executed the search warrant at Rainbow Lane, which we found DeAndre Booker, his current, I guess you could say, girlfriend, and her children inside of the trailer home.
So I'm showing what has been admitted as people's exhibit on the side. Who's this?
That's DeAndre Booker, ma'am.
Where was that taken?
That is taken on inside one of the bedrooms inside the Rainbow Lane address in Flint.
Okay. So this was when the defendant was at Flint and you saw him in the state, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened when you got to Rainbow Lane and executed the search warrant? What did you find?
We secured all persons inside of the residence, and then we began to scour the environment for signs of DeAndre Booker's clothing, shoes he was wearing, the jacket in particular, the jeans, and the black Carhartt knitted hat that he was wearing.
Did you find any of that?
Yes, ma'am, we found it all.
All of it?
Yes, ma'am.
This is exhibit 112. What's this?
That is a jacket that DeAndre Booker described to me of him wearing. That's the same jacket that he was seen wearing in the CCTV footage at multiple times during his duration at the Hampton Court Apartments on CCTV footage going to and from the dumpsters. And that's inside of the bedroom in which he was staying at while at the Flint address.
Okay, so this was located in Flint, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then on exhibit 114, this was previously admitted and was testified to that was, I believe it was the stain above the zipper, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What drew your attention to that?
We believed it to be suspected blood.
So what did you do with that?
Evidence technicians on scene secure the jacket, and place it into evidence for further analysis.
Was it swabbed or tested in any way?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would have been sent to the lab as well?
Yes, ma'am.
What do we have, and this is exhibit 115, was this found at Flint as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was that important to you?
So this shows that it's the same pants in which DeAndre Booker was wearing on the CCTV footage that we observed at the Hampton Court Apartments.
And exhibit 116, why would this be important?
That is the same Carhartt hat that DeAndre Booker is wearing, also again in the CCTV footage we found at the Hampton Court.
So that definitely was his clothes, and that definitely did look like blood on the coat that they found. So right now they're at the Flint residence where they arrested him at. He was shacking up with some girl in Flint. Is where they found him, and this was after the Google searches and after the crime that he committed with Ashley Elkins. So he was about to flee from Flint to Ohio, is where he was trying to go to.
Apartments.
So after you execute the search warrant and you find, oh yes, sorry, oh, one more exhibit. And then this was exhibit 118.
Yes, ma'am.
What is this?
So those are the shoes that at some point during the CCTV footage, DeAndre Booker is observed wearing the black boots and also these tennis shoes. And these are the tennis shoes found at the Flint address during the search warrant.
So after you execute the search warrant, you find the defendant at the location, you find all these clothes, what do you do next?
A search was done on DeAndre Booker's person, in which we found his cell phone. We obtained his cell phone that way. I read him his Miranda rights and asked him if he wanted to speak with me in regards to Ashley Elkins, in which he said no.
So the cell phone that was found on him, is that the one that was turned over and that we did the dump on that Detective Miranda testified to?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the defendant arrested at that time?
No, ma'am, he was not.
Okay, tell me why.
So we didn't believe that we had enough to secure him under arrest. We needed more evidence to place him under arrest at that time. So we went back to Roseville PD after finishing the search warrant and gathering all the evidence. We began further looking at data, that of which Detective Moran used the defendant's search warrant of his cell phone, and we determined that there were multiple crucial inconsistencies in DeAndre Booker's story to me during the recorded line conversations that him and I had, that we were able to charge him with lying to a peace officer during a serious crime.
Okay, so at some point is the defendant arrested?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
When was that?
The very next day.
And what was he arrested for that time?
The initial time we arrested him was for the lying to a peace officer during the serious crime investigation.
And was that based on statements that he made during his recorded phone calls with you, correct?
Hey, I'm gonna be right back. I'm still here, but hold on one sec.
So at some point, I know that there was a search for Ashley's car, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it ever located?
So we searched at length for Ashley's vehicle. We know it was going eastbound on Frazel from DeAndre Booker's apartment. It was caught on multiple surveillance cameras throughout neighborhoods and the surrounding area. The vehicle, we lost sight of the vehicle at somewhere in St. Clair Shores, heading in a northwesterly direction. At that point, we never picked up the vehicle again until Detective Dobricki was able to find it at the Golf Manor Apartments.
Do you recall what day that was?
No, ma'am, I don't.
I'm showing you People's Exhibit 88. What's this?
That is Ashley Elkins' vehicle on the day that Detective Dobricki finds it in the Golf Manor Apartments.
So this is People's Exhibit 89. This was just the front view of Ashley's car.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just going to direct your attention. You see a blue air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And that was there when you found the car, correct?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
So while we're pulling up another exhibit, were you ever able to verify whether that car that we were just looking at was Ashley's car?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you do that?
So we ran the VIN and correlated it and traced it back to Ashley. We verified that through family. We showed the family pictures of the vehicle, and they verified that it was in fact Ashley's vehicle.
Was the car registered to Ashley at the time? If you do a call.
To be honest with you, ma'am, I don't recall. I want to say yes, but I'm not definitively
That's
sure.
okay, I would rather you not guess. So, I'm just gonna pull up one more exhibit. Exhibit 4. It's holy car. Are you able to see whether the car that is moved to the Ashland Tech parking lot has that same air freshener hanging from the rear end? It's kind of hard to see from this view.
I see something hanging from the rear view, ma'am. It's hard on this angle and the pixelation of the TV.
Yes.
But I do remember her car having that blue air freshener. Yes, ma'am.
So we had talked about the fact that there was suspected blood found in various locations that was swabbed and sent to the lab. Did you ever receive any sort of results back from that?
Yes, ma'am.
And as the officer in charge, all lab results would come back to you, correct?
Correct, ma'am. So they're funneled through our. We get a notification through the Michigan State Police Crime Lab, in which our Detective Bureau Secretary also gets a notification. She takes the documentation from the Michigan State Police Crime Lab that is sent over to us and attaches them to the report, and then notifies me as well.
So we have people's exhibits 91 through 94. There are 4 separate lab reports. We're going to move to the admission of them under MCL 766.11B for purposes of preliminary exam.
Probably have no objection. Can I just make sure that they're the same ones?
The exhibit stickers on the back.
I'm back, everybody. Sorry about that. I had to go do something. LeBron's Unicorn. Hey, well, LeBron's Unicorn, welcome in. Good morning to you.
Objection 2002. Objection 93. No objection. No objection 90.
Maybe you'll all be.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm going to publish, if you can't see it on the TV, let me know, I can bring.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is People's Exhibit 91.
Okay.
This would be Michigan State Police Lab Report. This is laboratory number MD 25-46.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize this?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What, are you able to
Cameraman
walk us
is
through,
horrible.
what
Visual.
is depicted on this
Yes,
report? What was received, or sent over, what was received?
Yes, ma'am. So the hallway door swabs in which MSP Agent Brewster originally spoke about, hallway wall swabs, inside tub swabs which were open but not tested, bathtub drain swabs, inside tub swabs open but not tested, and then the covered swabs. And the covered, just for clarification, is the one that was found inside the bathroom.
And each one of those is packaged separately, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And given its own number.
Yes, ma'am.
So this first lab report, what does it indicate? We're going to start with the first part. It says for number 3. What was item number 3?
Item number 3 is the hallway door swabs, which tested negative for phenolphthalein.
So this first lab report is this just for the presence of blood?
Yes, ma'am.
So the hallway door swab was negative for the phenolphthalein. What does that indicate? Can you read that for us?
Did not indicate the presence of blood.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one.
Phenolphthalein is blood.
MD 25-46, which is the Michigan State Police's incident number, is in correlation to our incident. It is container number 4, which up here is the hallway wall swabs. It indicated a positive presence of blood for the phenolphthalein.
What do we got next?
So her blood was on the wall of his apartment.
Item number 6, which is the bathtub drain swabs. It was a positive indication for the presence of blood, which was a positive indication for phenolphthalein.
And what was next?
So here was what they're going over, the items that they did the phenolphthalein testing for blood. The items was the bathtub where the incident happened, and also the cupboard, I believe, like the bottom of the sink, like where you store your cleaning supplies and whatnot. There was presence of blood there for both areas, and also on the wall. So that's 3 different areas of the apartment where her blood was known to be tested and positive for.
That was item number 8. It was the covered swab, as I originally indicated, were the from the vanity inside of the bathroom.
Get the like button,
Were
subscribe, share.
Indicated presence of
Also have a goal.
which is different than what Ms. Brewster already told.
Real quick, I want to say shout out to LeBron's Unicorn for the $10 donation. Appreciate you. I do have a YouTube goal of I think I said it at 5 YouTube incentive. It's not mandatory, but appreciate the love if you can. If you can't, I get it. You know, it's the holidays. Trust me, I get it. You feel me? But thank you again, LeBron. Appreciate you. Didn't have to, but I appreciate you for doing so. All right, let me get back to the testimony. By the way, for those that's watching, this is day 3 of the preliminary hearing for Ashley Elkins, DeAndre Booker versus Michigan. This is part 2 of it. Part 1 is in my playlist, in my playlist, and the other 2 days is there as well too. It's 4 days to the whole thing, and I'm gonna do day 4 later on. So right now we're doing day 3, the second part. So this is the end of it, but it's gonna be quite lengthy because his testimony is gonna. He's the officer in charge, so that's why his testimony is a little bit longer, because he's gonna pretty much bring everything from A to Z when it comes to putting the nail in the hammer on this case, or the hammer on the nail with this case, should they say.
This one indicated that it was human blood, which, as you originally stated, phenolphthalein just indicated a presence of blood. This one indicated a positive presence of
Appreciate you all day.
So when you see a report like this, what's the next step?
So I documented, attached it to the report, verified it's attached properly by our Detective Bureau Secretary, and then I kind of put it in layman's terms so it's easy to understand once it's being read inside of an actual police report.
So do you ever, well, let's just move over to Exhibit 92. So this is the Michigan State Police Lab report, same number, MD 25-46, record number 2.
Yes, ma'am.
What is documented in this report?
So this one contains multiple things. This was container number 10, which is the blue jacket, same one we found at the Flynn address that DeAndre Booker was confirmed to be wearing on CCTV footage and during his statements to me over
You're blocking the screen though, like get out the way.
the dumpster 4 stain swabs, which Agent Brewster spoke of. That would be the dumpster where the spread of blood was found. The
I can
impressions
see
A
it,
and
but they're
B
visual. They need to get a little bit
bathtubs.
closer. I kind of want to, let me freeze frame it for a minute and see what they got on here. So they did some buccal swabs. They did some DNA testing through the Elkins family to match the DNA for the blood. What else did they got? The dumpster is where he dumped the evidence and her body also. From the 7-Eleven parking lot next to his apartment complex, the blue jacket that he wore. That would be also the bathtub they got in here. They also did a buccal swab for him, and they also did a buccal swab for the mother and her siblings as well too, and a toothbrush. So that's what they tested to try to find out if the blood actually belonged to Ashley Elkins, and it did.
Swabs that were originally found by Officer Bosnian.
And the buccal swabs, it's a funny name, but I didn't even realize it until recently. That's the, when they swab your mouth, that's what that is. That's just the fancy, I don't know why they call it that, buccal swab, but yeah, DNA swab.
A buccal swab with DeAndre Booker. A buccal swab is a DNA swab. A buccal swab with Monica Elkins. A buccal swab from Alexis Elkins, which is the sister of Ashley, and then a buccal swab of both of Miss Ashley Elkins' children as well, and the toothbrush of Miss Elkins as well.
Now, you mentioned that the buccal swab is a DNA swab. Can you tell us how it's obtained?
Yep, so there's a certain tool that we're given in which you swab the individual's cheeks on both sides. So one swab for the left side and one swab for the right side.
And those were all submitted in that order to the emission safety lab?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do the swabs or did somebody else do them?
Detective Sergeant Karasi for the buccal swabs. Okay.
All right, so we're going to go to the next page of this report and walk us through once we get to it. All right, so starting at the top under interpretations, what do we have?
So this is item number.
Sergeant, come on.
This is page 2 of.
2 of report number 2.
You got it?
Yes.
All right, so the interpretations, what do we have?
Yes, ma'am. So this is item number 10, the blue jacket. It's a hair screening. Hairs and fibers observed but not collected or examined, excuse me. Positive for phenolphthalein, indicating the possible presence of blood. Additional areas on this item were tested that did not indicate the presence of blood. Additional stains were observed but were not tested. Wearer ID, which that is the person that ultimately wears the jacket on a consistent basis, was in this place, in this circumstance with DeAndre Booker. That item was swab. Swabs of the item collected for subsequent DNA testing.
And what would be the next one? L1.
The L1 is the dumpster for stain swabs, the dumpster in which had the presence of blood in it. Portions of the item removed for subsequent DNA testing. This was done by Ms. Brewster.
And what is the next one?
Impressions A and B, as originally spoke about by Ms. Brewster, for the bathtub stain swabs. Previously tested by crime scene response team, which Ms. Brewster is a part of. Portions of this item removed for subsequent DNA testing.
Okay, what's the next one?
The next one is DeAndre Booker's buccal swab, which was referenced for DNA, also cut for DNA. Portions of this item removed for subsequent DNA testing.
And what about 15?
15 is Monica Elkins' buccal swab, same as DeAndre Booker's. It was a reference for DNA. It was cut for DNA, which means it was being tested. Portions of this item removed for subsequent DNA testing.
The next one?
For
Let's do 17 and 18.
17, 18 are the buccal swabs of Ms. Elkins' children. It's a reference DNA standpoint, and they're both cut for DNA for future testing.
And number 19.
Is the toothbrush belonging to Ashley Elkins, also a reference DNA standpoint and an item swab.
Okay, so moving on to exhibit number 93. What do we have here?
93, record 3.
I'm sorry, 3, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So this is the results of the examination of the evidence depicted above here: the hallway stain swabs, bathtub drain stain swabs, covered stain swabs, all the ones I mentioned before. Now,
Okay, so what does the result of the examination say?
a DNA profile was obtained from item MB 25-4614B, which was the buccal swab of DeAndre Booker, and it was determined that it is sufficient for comparison purposes, meaning that they had enough DNA on that to compare to other things.
On to the next page. Okay, number 2.
Number 2 says a DNA profile was obtained from item MD 25-4619B, which is the toothbrush swab with Ashley Elkins, and it was determined that it's sufficient for comparison purposes.
So what's number 3?
Number 3 is the interpretation of the hallway stain swab performed, assuming that the DNA profile originated from 2 individuals, at least one of which genetically types as male.
So let's just skip down to where it says results.
Yes, ma'am. Based on the DNA type and results obtained from the hallway wall stain swabs, it is approximately 980 million times more likely that it originated from DeAndre Booker and 1 unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what?
So in other words, in the results is that more than likely is 99% chance that he did it, which is true.
What is
This analysis,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am, verbal scale, so just put it in layman's terms, this analysis provides very strong support that DeAndre Booker is a contributor to the hallway wall stain swap.
Okay, so we're moving down to the box below.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you tell us what that result is?
Yep, so this is the toothbrush of Ashley Elkins. The results, based on the DNA typing results obtained from the hallway stain swabs, it is approximately 5.8 octillion times more likely that if it originated from Ashley Elkins and one unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from two unrelated unknown contributors. Basically stating that this analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is a contributor to the hallway wall stain swab.
Can you back up for just a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. The 980 million times more likely that DeAndre Booker was a contributor to the hallway stain of blood. That was in the hallway, is that what you're indicating?
Yes, sir.
And
So
then the next one is
also the hallway.
both hallways. right?
Yes.
Both DeAndre and Ashley Elkins. Thank you.
Correct, sir. We're just showing that Ashley Elkins was 5.8 octillion times more likely to be on that hallway wall stain swab, and DeAndre Booker was only 980 million. So we're just showing that correlation.
980 million
So-
times more likely. Damn.
So when we're looking at this,
I,
I'm gonna clarify that.
okay, I'm gonna place my objection on the record to,
Right.
this detective interpreting or making an opinion on what the plain, reading of these results are, unless he can establish that he's some kind of expert in analysis of DNA.
At this point, you're just reading what the report is.
Well, he's shortening it, he's leaving a couple things out. So that's why, it's been exhibited as an exhibit. I have no objection to it being as an exhibit. I just have a problem with this detective interpreting it the way he is interpreting it, because that's just simply not correct.
I'm certain that you'll cross-examine us.
So I can back up and clarify
Go ahead.
because, so we're gonna go up to paragraph 3.
Correct.
Can you just read that full statement for us, please?
Yep, can you, Mr. Franco, can you scroll down?
Yep.
So number 3 says interpretation of item MD 25-464D hallway wall stain swabs was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from two individuals, at least one of which genetically types as male.
Okay. And then under that, we see a box that says hypothesis.
Yes, ma'am.
You see that? Okay. Could you just read everything in that box, please?
Yes, ma'am. H1 MD 25-46-14D DeAndre Booker buccal swab and one unrelated unknown contributor. Hypothesis 2, two unrelated unknown contributors.
And then the results from that is what you previously read, that it was 980 million times more likely if it originated from DeAndre Booker and one unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from two unrelated unknown contributors, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we move down to the box below and the hypothesis. Could you read us that text, please?
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D, toothbrush swab with Ashley Elkins, alternate known, and one unrelated unknown contributor. Hypothesis 2 is two unrelated unknown contributors.
And then what is the results of that?
The results read, based on the DNA typing results obtained from the hallway wall stain swabs, it is approximately 5.8 octillion times more likely that if it originated from Ashley Elkins and one unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from two unrelated unknown contributors.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's move down to number 4. Please read us number 4.
Number 4, interpretation of item MD 25-46-6D bathtub drain stain swab was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from one individual that genetically types as female.
So just to clarify, this is the bathtub drain swab, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the hypothesis that they compared to that?
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D toothbrush swab with Ashley Elkins, alternate known. Hypothesis 2 is an unrelated unknown contributor.
What are the results for that?
The results, based on the DNA typing results obtained from the bathtub drain stain swab, it is approximately 15 octillion times more likely that if it originated from Ashley Elkins than if it originated from an unrelated unknown contributor.
And what does the verbal scale say?
This analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is the contributor to the bathtub drain stain swab.
And what does it say under the verbal scale?
Exclusions. DeAndre Booker is excluded as a contributor to the bathtub drain stain swab.
Moving along to
So basically saying he can't use his own blood as a reason why the blood is in his tub. And they're saying that it's more likely to be Ashley Elkins than his own blood. He can't use that as a defense. Every piece of evidence that they're going over on that piece of paper is in an octillion, is more than like over 80 million times that it's going to be turn out to be Ashley Elkins or turn out to be DeAndre Booker to be the contributor, but not the blood. But his DNA was there because it's his house, of course, and her blood was there. So they're just going over the results one by one is what they're doing, or is what he's reading.
to paragraph 5.
Interpretation of item MD 25-46-8D, covered stain swab was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from 2 individuals, at least one of which genetically types as male.
What's the hypotheses?
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-14D, DeAndre Booker Buckle, and 1 unrelated unknown contributor. Hypothesis 2, 2 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what are the results of the testing for the covered stain swab?
Based on the DNA typing results obtained from the covered stain swab, it is approximately 1.1 thousand times more likely that if it originated from DeAndre Booker and 1 unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what is the verbal scale?
This analysis provides moderate support that DeAndre Booker is a contributor to the covered stain swab.
All right, we're moving down to the next box, the hypothesis.
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D, toothbrush swab at Ashley Elkins, alternate known. And 1 unrelated unknown contributor. Hypothesis 2, 2 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what were the results of that for the covered stain?
Based on the DNA typing results obtained from the covered stain swab, is approximately 7.6 octillion times more likely that if it originated from Ashley Elkins and 1 unrelated unknown contributor than if it originated from 2 unrelated unknown contributors.
And the verbal scale for that?
Verbal scale reads, this analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is a contributor to the covered stain swab.
Moving down to number 6.
Interpretation of item MD 25-46-10AD, blue jacket stain swab was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from 1 individual that genetically types as female.
Now, this blue jacket that is indicated, is that the jacket that was found in Flint at the search warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell us about the hypotheses.
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D, toothbrush swab at Ashley Elkins, alternate known. Hypothesis 2, an unrelated unknown contributor.
What were the results?
Results read, based on the DNA typing results obtained from the blue jacket stain swab, it is approximately 11 octillion times more likely if it originated from Ashley Elkins than if it originated from an unrelated unknown contributor.
And what would be the verbal scale?
Verbal scale reads, this analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is the contributor to the blue jacket stain swab.
And what does it say under exclusions?
Exclusions read, DeAndre Booker is excluded as a contributor to the blue jacket stain swab.
So that's not his blood on his jacket, pretty much. That's not his blood in his tub, and that's not his blood on his jacket. So who else blood could it be?
Moving along to number 7.
Interpretation of item MD 25-46-10BD, blue jacket cuffs and collar swabs, was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from 3 individuals, at least one of which genetically types as male.
Tell us about the hypothesis.
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-14D, DeAndre Booker Buckle, and 2 unrelated unknown contributors. Hypothesis 2, 3 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what would the results be?
Based on the DNA typing results obtained from the blue jacket cuffs and collar swabs, it is approximately 920 septillion times more likely that if it originated from DeAndre Booker and 2 unrelated unknown contributors than if it originated from the 3 unrelated unknown contributors.
And the verbal scale for that?
Verbal scale reads, this analysis provides very strong support that DeAndre Booker is a contributor to the blue jacket cuffs and collar swabs.
And again, this is the jacket that was found in Flint pursuant to the search warrant?
Yes, ma'am. Well,
So what's the next box, the hypothesis?
hypothesis reads, hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D, toothbrush swab at Ashley Elkins, alternate known, and 2 unrelated unknown contributors. Hypothesis 2, 3 unrelated unknown contributors.
And what were the results?
Based on the DNA typing results obtained from the blue jacket cuffs and collar swabs, it is approximately 500 trillion times more likely that more
500
likely if it
trillion.
originated from Ashley Elkins and 2 unrelated unknown contributors than if it originated from 3 unrelated unknown contributors.
And the verbal scale?
This analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is a contributor to the Blue Jacket cuffs and collar swaps.
And number 8.
Interpretation of item MD 25-46-L1D, dumpster floor stain swab. Was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from one individual that genetically types as female.
All right. And the hypotheses?
Hypothesis 1, MD 25-46-19D, toothbrush swab, Ashley Elkins alternate known. Hypothesis 2, an unrelated unknown contributor.
Okay, the results?
Based on the DNA typing results obtained from the dumpster floor stain, it is approximately 37 septillion times more likely if it originated from Ashley Elkins than if it originated from an unrelated unknown contributor.
Verbal scale.
This analysis provides very strong support that Ashley Elkins is a contributor to the dumpster floor stain swap.
And exclusions.
DeAndre Booker is excluded as a contributor to the dumpster floor stain swap.
And that's the
Number 9 reads the DNA profile was obtained from item MD 25-46-L13D, impressions A and B, bathtub stain swab that is insufficient for comparison purposes.
So that would be the end of the end of the comparisons for that report. So I'm turning to the last page. What do we have here? Can you tell us what this box is?
Yeah, so this is the, as it reads, the propositions were formed from the form information available to the undersigned at the time of the analysis. This information changes or if other propositions should be considered, the analysis is able to undertake them if instructed with sufficient time. The magnitude of the likelihood ratio relates to the degree of support provided by the evidence under the tested hypotheses and assumptions. The qualitative statement for comparison of the evidentiary typing result to a person of interest is based on the following table. Likelihood ratio and qualitative equivalent.
So if the likelihood ratio is 0, what do we have for qualitative equivalent?
Exclusion.
And what about 1?
Uninformative.
2 to 99.
Limited support.
100 to 9,099.
Moderate support.
10,000 to 999,999.
Strong support.
1 million and greater.
Very strong support.
The final lab report for today goes exhibit number 94.
I'm sorry, can you back up? Go to the previous exhibit. One of the tests was on the jacket, correct?
There's 2 tests on the jacket.
Right,
One on the blood stain swab and then one on the cuffs and collars.
okay, so the second one where it says, blue jacket, was that just on the cuffs and collar?
You just need to keep up with the case.
Depicts in this.
The reason I ask is because, for the cuffs and collars, the contributor would have been, Mr. Booker. The other one excluded Mr. Booker. That's why I was asking you.
Correct.
I believe it
So,
was number 7, said blue jacket, cuffs and collars. The
Yep.
question is, does that just refer to the cuffs and collars,
yes, sir.
not the stains on the jacket?
No, sir.
Thanks.
Just pointing your attention to number 6.
Yes.
What is depicted in number 6?
Depicted in number 6 is the interpretation of item MD 25-46-10AD. The blue jacket stain swab was performed assuming that the DNA profile originated from one individual that genetically types as female.
Okay, so this is the analysis that corresponds with the stain, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Paper in the pocket.
Which would be separate from the cuffs and collars talked about in number 7.
Correct.
Does that clarify your?
Yes, thank you.
Did you want us to go through the results?
No, I got the results, I just wasn't certain if it
Right.
included the entire jacket.
And we can publish the actual papers report to have.
Thank you.
I just have one more lab report.
Okay.
Yep. Number 94. This is record number 7, Mission State Police lab report. What do we have here?
Evidence received container 20 sealed cardboard box containing swabs, the Taurus pistol, belonging to DeAndre Booker, and a sealed plastic package containing trace materials were removed from the pistol. Item 20 is a 9mm Luger caliber Taurus model G3X semi-automatic pistol, serial number ADG 538604.
And is this the gun that was found in the defendant's apartment?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
So that was submitted to the lab?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is in container 22?
Container 22 is a sealed envelope containing swabs of the fired bullet found in the drain. Item 22 is one of the fired bullet.
And it says evidence generated during examination.
Container TF-20, heat sealed plastic bag containing test shot envelope containing test shots from item number 20. One fired cartridge, case and fired bullet, and then another fired cartridge, case and fired bullet.
And what were the results of the physical and microscopic examination?
Item 22, fired bullet and test shots from item 20 were physically examined and microscopically compared using light comparison microscopy. Item 22, fired bullet, is inconclusive as having been fired from item 20, the pistol. These items share agreement of class characteristics but lack consistent and reproducible individual characteristics. Item 22, again, fired bullet is consistent with being a 38 or 9mm caliber class fired frangible bullet displaying conventional rifling specifications of 6 lands and grooves with a right twist. Item 20, the pistol functioned and condition it was received. Test shots from item 20 will be returned to the submitting agency.
So the item 22 fired bullet result does say it's consistent with being a 38 or 9mm caliber. Is that the same as the caliber of the gun that was found?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
But it's, and it has the same class characteristics, that's what you just read, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But they could not conclusively, it was inconclusive as to whether or not that one was actually fired from that specific weapon.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So, just a couple more questions. You've heard about
You sweat like a bug.
the blood that was swabbed. Did you ever find out throughout your investigation when those dumpsters were picked up?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
When was that?
That was done by some of our command officers. They reached out to the dumpster companies and they were able to gain surveillance footage and screenshot times and dates of when the dumpsters were picked up and brought to a different facility.
So when was that particular dumpster that we've been looking at where the blood was found, when was that collected?
The next day, after we observed DeAndre Booker taking the shopping cart to that dumpster.
Would that be, are you talking about January 3rd or January 4th?
January 3rd, I believe.
We've seen lots of surveillance footage from Hampton Court Apartments and Colonial Village Apartments. When you looked at those footage, did you happen to know whether the times were identical or were they offset at anything?
They were offset. They were in UTC time now. I'm sorry. Not all of them were in UTC time, but they were not exact.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So there was some of the times on the CCTV footage were not exact to the times in which were originally depicted. There's some are faster, some are slower. I believe it was by 9 minutes and 7 minutes.
Now you mentioned UTC time. What is UTC time?
UTC time is like used globally. It is the most accurate depicted time that is available to humans, I guess you could say.
So is UTC time used in the United States?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're in Eastern Standard Time Zone?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what the difference is between Eastern Standard Time Zone and the UTC time?
Yes, we're off by, I believe it's 4 hours in the summer and 5 hours in the winter
So
in terms of UTC time.
okay. So we're looking at People's Exhibit 82A. So if there was a search at 12, it says 1/2/25, 12:48:00 p.m. UTC. Do you know what time approximately that would be for Eastern Standard Time?
So that would be in correlation to Eastern Standard Time. You'd have to add 4 to 5 hours. So in this case, with winter, I believe it's 4 hours. It could be 5. Don't quote me on that, but it is not correct in that is not accurately depict what time it is in terms of Eastern Standard Time.
I got this. I have nothing further this time around.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Before you continue.
So now we get into the cross
Put
exam.
that exhibit up. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Got 82A?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
This was a Google search, is that correct?
So this is one of his Google searches that he they already shown this in one of the earlier days. I think like day 1 or day 2. This is his Google search with what he wanted to do around that time before Ashley Elkins went missing. And the first one reads 12/22/2024, telling God I want to kill someone. 12/29/2024, 9mm silencer Roseville, which is a city or township outside of Detroit, suburban little area. 12/29/24, 9mm silencer Roseville, Michigan. And then same day, again, silencer Roseville, Michigan. Again, 12/29, murder out of rage X. This is what he's searching. Then a few days later, after the new year, 1/2 of 2025, shoot gun through pillow. And then he also had another Google search, shotgun through pillow. I believe he meant shoot gun through pillow or whatever. And then he also did a third search that same day on 1/2 of 2025. Can you track location when phone is off? And then on the actual 5th, what happens to trash after it's picked up? And this would have been after the time Ashley went missing.
These were the timestamp searches that were found in the and it's only just a short summary.
Okay, Sergeant Westcott, so the top one, December 22nd, 2021, 12:35:31 p.m. Are you indicating that the actual time would have been 4:35 p.m.?
4 or 5:35 p.m. Yes, sir. It's at least 4 hours. You guys go backwards. It's 4 or 5 hours in one direction or the other, Your Honor. It's not accurate to Eastern Standard Time. It's from this one.
I thought you had questioned just previous to that about the dumpsters, though, not about the Google search of his phone.
No, I asked what date the dumpsters were picked up, and then the next, when he.
I insinuated that I misspoke on that, Your Honor.
So the time that's depicted on those videos
Oh, I understand.
regarding the dumpsters, is that accurate?
That is accurate. That was the Eastern Standard Time local time. But the question was regarding whether the Hampton Port Apartments and the Colonial Village were synced at the same time. And I believe, and you can clarify, but the testimony was that some of the cameras were off by 9 or 7 minutes. We're
Okay,
not
so
talking
the
about the
UTC time, it's not applicable to that, only
That's
regarding Exhibit 82A.
That's correct. I was only questioning about the UTC time with regard to the Google searches depicted in 82A, not to get. Apologize for that.
Ms. Ryan?
Detective Ross, I want to try to go in as much of a chronological order with my question as I possibly can. I have a report from you. It's really lengthy, so I'm kind of going off a lot on that. I have an entry on your report dated January 2nd, 2025.
You can barely hear the defense attorney because he's talking with his mouth down, not looking up.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, you said you weren't involved in this investigation of the missing person of Ashley Elkins until maybe sometime on January 4th. And I just was wondering why there's information contained in the report about January 2nd.
So that's to reflect why Warren Police Department, we're in the city of Roseville, kind of tying everything together as to why we got involved with DeAndre Booker's apartment.
So you're just basing your report on what was reported by the Warren Police Department?
Some of it, yes, sir.
And did you have access to the reports of the Warren Police Department prior to, say, the afternoon of January 4th?
I did not have access to those reports at that time.
Were you in contact with the detective in charge of the missing person report on Ashley Elkins?
Yes, sir. Detective Baggiano?
Yeah, that's who it was, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you in contact with him at any time in January 2nd or January 3rd?
No, sir.
Had no contact with him whatsoever?
No, sir.
It's my understanding that on January 3rd of 2025 that your department took part in going to Mr. Booker's residence to do a welfare check or to see if Ashley Elkins was actually in his apartment on January 3rd, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did that get coordinated if it wasn't through you?
So they made contact with our command desk. In this case, it was Lieutenant Gurley and Sergeant Wozniak.
And so your department, my understanding is you sent some officers over to the apartment to like assist them in either the entering of the apartment or looking through the apartment?
Yeah, so if another jurisdiction comes into our city, we either assist them in standing by or assist them in whatever needs that they may have at that point.
Okay. And would I be correct in stating that at least 3 of officers from the Roseville Police Department took part in that sweep of Mr. Booker's apartment on the evening of January 3rd?
If you can tell me what the third officer was, I know Lieutenant Gurley, Sergeant Wozniak. If you could refresh my memory as to who the third one was.
I don't know the names. I think
Okay.
that that's Sekowski.
Okay, Stakowski. He could have been.
Yes.
Could have been, yes, sir.
All right. Now, had you been aware prior to the Roseville police officers assisting Warren in that search of the apartment that Warren had received information that from a cell phone that they had given to Warren that belonged to DeAndre Booker?
Are you asking that if I knew I had knowledge of that prior to?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as far as you know from the Warren detectives, that this phone was given to them by a friend of the family, LaShawn Ross, correct?
I don't know if it was LaShawn Ross. I just was told that it was given to Warren PD by members of the Elkins family.
All right. And was your understanding that they were concerned because they had looked in the phone and saw the DoorDash order regarding the garbage bags?
Correct, sir.
Okay. And do you know what time it was that that phone was delivered to the Warren Police Department?
I do not recall what time it was, no, sir.
And I'm assuming that Detective Baggiano would know that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have any information before Officers Roseville went to the apartment on the evening of January 3rd, that members of the Elkins family had already been into the apartment?
No, sir. I had no knowledge of any events that transpired between us and Warren prior to me coming in on that Saturday before.
Okay. And again, that would be something for me to ask Detective Biafagiano. He would probably have the
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Did you, because your officers assisted in that protective sweep of the home to try to find if Ms. Elkins was present, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because at that time, this was simply a missing persons investigation, correct?
That is correct.
And since somebody felt that she may have been at his apartment earlier or the day before, that she might still be there.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, did your officers who took part in that sweep, did they report back to you as to what they saw or found?
They didn't report directly back to me, no, sir. There were other command officers on scene. I wasn't a command officer, or I didn't hold that capacity or that level that they needed to report back to me at that moment in time. They just reported back to their command officers at that moment in time, and then they would depict their results or document their results in an incident report.
Okay. So, but I would take it that at some point in time when you took over this file, that you were informed of what they saw by either them talking to you or them filing reports, correct?
Correct, sir.
And that you summarized their findings in your own report, correct?
Somewhat, yes. Not entirely, but yes, a little bit.
Okay. Well, I would be correct in stating that you summarized that, at least as far as your officers who went into the apartment on the evening of January 3rd, that nobody was found to be in the residence, correct?
That's correct.
And that there were no signs of any foul play, according to your officers, correct?
That's correct.
And that the officers also determined that there was no signs of any struggle within the apartment on the evening of January 3rd, correct?
That's correct.
And even though they found a bottle of bleach and garbage bags located in the apartment, all of the Roseville personnel there did not observe an odor of bleach emanating from anywhere in the apartment, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And as far as you knew, the door to Mr. Booker's apartment was open when they did this protective sweep, correct?
Correct, sir. It was unsecured.
Now, you found out on January 4th that Mr. Booker had called the Macomb County Sheriff's Department about a complaint regarding people going in and out of his apartment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at some point, did you get a recording of that conversation that he had with dispatch at the Macomb Sheriff's Department?
I don't recall.
I'm listening and paying attention to his testimony, y'all. I'm just also editing these thumbnails on my phone at the same time. But the defense is really not making no type of argument with his question.
Do you know
It's pretty much
whether-
reiterating on what already
when he
Detective
called
Westmont's already
The
did.
sheriff's department, was it January 4th or January 5th?
I believe I have it written in my report here. If you give me 1 second. January 4th at 14:34 hours, sir.
Okay. So that would be about a little after 2:30 in the afternoon of January 4th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in your conversations with Mr. Booker, did he also tell you that he had called maintenance person at the apartment complex to go check and lock his door
Yes, sir.
because of these people coming in and out?
Correct.
And he had told you that he had saw this posted on Facebook, people coming in and out of his apartment on January 3rd or January 4th.
Yes, sir.
Did you, as part of your job, listen to the call from Mr. Booker to the Macomb Sheriff's Department?
If I did, I don't recall. But to my knowledge, I did not.
He didn't give his consent to the Macomb County Sheriffs to go into his apartment, did he?
I'm gonna object to hearsay, and he said he didn't listen to the call, so it was speculation.
Well, it's my client's statement, so it's not hearsay.
Well, it is, it's statement by a party opponent, he's not a party opponent, it's the people of the state of Michigan versus DeAndre Booker. Your client's own statement is not a party opponent, but it's also speculation because Sergeant Lesperance said he doesn't believe he listened to the call. So he wouldn't be able to testify to the content.
You have no recollection of listening to that phone call?
No, sir, I don't.
Sustained.
Did when did you exactly become involved in this investigation?
After Officer Nabozny, Officer Byarski, and a few other officers went in the second time when they knocked and announced their presence, the door became ajar. They performed it would now be the second protective sweep of the residence. That's when Officer Nabozny located the blood stains and spatter and drops. They notified Sergeant Chwella, who was the OIC at the time, of what they had and what the findings were. And then Sergeant Chwella advised them to back out of the apartment, in which then I was notified and contacted by Sergeant Chwella and Detective Lieutenant Beamer.
Who was it that gave the order to the the officers from Roseville to go into his apartment to do a protective sweep on the afternoon of January 4th?
I don't know that anybody gave them permission per se, but it's just standard protocol that we do a secondary search for people that may be unable to seek for help or call for help, or someone that may be in dire need of police assistance.
Okay, but your officers have been in there the night before, correct? And they found nobody in the place, and they also found no signs of any struggle or any foul play, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. So why would they go into the apartment again the next afternoon?
They had a police-run dispatch call for service then.
Who made that run for service? This was based on Mr. Booker's call to the sheriff's department?
Correct, sir. He asked, per my report, he asked that officers go and check his residence for a break-in. I have DeAndre requested officers check his residence for a break-in. The Macomb County Sheriff's Office transferred the call to Roseville Police Dispatch Center, and officers were again dispatched to the residence of 26069 Pinehurst Street, Apartment 202, Building B.
And you don't remember the phone call, correct?
Correct,
This is
sir.
your interpretation of what you were told by somebody else?
No, that was per Officer Nabozny and per the command staff that notified us on that day. that there was a
When you
policeman on there.
talk command staff, who would that have been?
Sergeant Chihuahua.
So Sergeant Truella was the command officer that told other officers to go see if there was a break-in at.
No, sir. DeAndre Booker asked us to go to his apartment.
Well, who did he ask?
Our dispatch. He said, "Can you send officers to my apartment to check his residence for a break-in?" He called. The call was transferred from Macomb County Dispatch 911 to Roseville Sarisa Dispatch 911.
So it was a Roseville dispatcher who actually talked to him, not the Macomb County Sheriff's Office?
They both did. Macomb County Sheriff's 911 dispatchers originally took the call, routed it to Roseville dispatchers, just because they're not in the city of Roseville. We have our own
Right,
dispatch.
and is there a tape of this phone call to Roseville as opposed to the tape I have from the Macomb County Sheriff's Office?
I'm sure there is. I don't know if it's still available or not, or not. I don't recall ever having it.
And don't recall whether or not a copy was sent to me?
To my, I don't know. It may have been. I'm not sure. I've sent you hundreds of pieces of evidence, so that could have been in there.
But since you didn't hear it yourself or don't remember it, you don't know for sure whether he said to go into my apartment specifically or to just lock the door.
No, sir, I don't know.
And when your officers were there, didn't the maintenance man from the apartment complex come there while your officers was there and said he got a call to basically lock the door?
Correct.
Objection,
And
hearsay.
didn't your officers?
Hold on a second, objection.
I'm objecting to hearsay and what the maintenance man said, as well as speculation, as he's asking what somebody said to somebody else who was then, which was then related to the officer.
Ryan?
Your Honor, I don't know that it's offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, just as to what their actions were before and after.
Sustain the objection because it calls for hearsay in that the question is whether the officers were told by a maintenance man that he was there to lock the door.
Oops, my bad.
But
So on both the night of January 3rd and the afternoon of January 4th, officers from Roseville and from Warren, at least on January 3rd, went into Mr. Booker's apartment without a search warrant, correct?
That's correct, sir.
So right now, the defense is just questioning whether or not he had any validity to go into his apartment, but the defendant also called the police to ask them to go to his apartment because he thought it was a break-in because of the Elkins family of going into the apartment looking for Ashley. And they didn't have a search warrant at the time, is what the detective is stating. But he was also called and requested by the actual, I won't say homeowner, but the person that lives there, the resident, to go and check on his apartment to see if it has been broken into.
And then after Officer Nabozny informed you of what he found in the apartment.
I may have to split this in three
January
parts.
4th, that's what.
This is part two to day three, but I'm gonna have to split this into three parts because I didn't know this. His testimony was quite lengthy. I still got like an hour, almost 2 hours left of his testimony. So I may just break it off at some point and come back to it and then finish up the last day later on this evening for you guys. But everything all the days will be on the playlist. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. It's going to be a while, but that's how trials be.
You got involved and started to get together a search warrant, correct?
That's correct.
Were your officers still in the afternoon of January 4th assisting Warren in trying to locate the whereabouts of Ashley Elkins?
We were not assisting Warren at that time. We only did on the January 3rd when Warren PD came into our city looking for Ashley at the Andrew Booker's residence. So on January 4th, to answer your question, sir, no, we were not assisting them. We were doing things that matter to Roseville PD.
Okay. Well, did you know that Warren had gotten a call, some kind of a tip from somebody contacting Monica Elkins in the afternoon of January 4th, saying that Ashley was being held at a residence on Eileen Street in Detroit?
I was made aware of that after January 4th, to my knowledge, sir.
Do you know whether or not the City of Detroit Police Department went out to that address to check to see if Ashley Elkins was there?
Yes, they did.
All right. And were you aware that they weren't allowed to enter the home by whoever was
That's correct.
residing? Do you know whether or not any of those police officers from the City of Detroit contacted officers from your department about whether or not they wanted to issue a search warrant for that location in Detroit to find Ms. Elkins?
I believe we were contacted. We just didn't feel that there was enough evidence to support a search warrant or obtain a search warrant to go into the residence of Eileen Street just by someone's word of mouth saying she was there.
Did you make that decision, or did somebody else at your department make that decision?
I did not make that decision.
You know if it was Sergeant Truella?
No, sir. I couldn't tell you who made that decision. I would be the one that would draft the search warrant if we were to go in that house on Eileen Street. I was never told to do so.
Okay. Do you know if somebody at your department contacted the officers in Detroit that afternoon and told them specifically, no, we're not coming out?
I don't recall if they did.
Now, I'm looking at your report, and it looks like it's written in chronological order.
Correct.
So, am I correct in that?
Yes,
As
sir.
much as you could
Yes, sir.
do it that way? And I see that after you, would I be correct in stating that the Roseville police officers on January 4th went into Mr. Booker's apartment sometime in the afternoon, about 2:30, 2:40 in the afternoon?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. And that you went in with a search warrant on January 4th, sometime around 8 o'clock that evening, correct?
I couldn't tell you the exact time. I just know it was the evening of January 4th. That's it.
And after you had, you were present when the officers were executing the search warrant, correct?
Yes, sir.
And after you got done collecting any evidence or looking around, you did also look for some video ring camera, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that took some time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, watching some video from that evening, it looks like you leave the apartment complex sometime close to 9 o'clock at night on January 4th?
To be honest with you, sir, I don't remember the time. It could be 9 o'clock. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, and then you went back to the Roseville Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir. After the search warrant was completed, we got done speaking with the neighbor who held the ring footage. Myself and Detective Lieutenant Beamer went back to the Roseville Police Department. That is correct.
All right. And is that when you first called DeAndre Booker? Is that your first call to him?
Correct.
So it was sometime later in the evening after 9 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that call was recorded, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would I be correct in stating that based upon the search warrant and the evidence that was found on the search warrant on the night of January 4th, that DeAndre Booker had become a suspect in the disappearance of Ms. Elkins?
At that time, he was not a suspect yet. No, sir.
I'm gonna pause it right here. At exactly 4 hours and 21 minutes and 10 seconds. And I'll pick back up later on for the end of this testimony. His testimony is kind of lengthy, like 4 or 5 hours. But I appreciate everybody that's been watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and you guys have a good one. See you later. I'm gonna say around about 2 o'clock-ish, 3 o'clock-ish, between 2 to 3 o'clock-ish. I'll post it on my community wall and whatnot. But thank you guys. Have a good one. See you later on.